So several years ago, I had a senior graduating, and she got accepted to a fairly prestigious a liberal arts college that I happen to know was very expensive. And the financial planner in me, my past career, kind of thought about her, and I didn't think that she had like a ton of money or that her family had a ton of money. I really didn't know, but so I just kind of blurted out, I said, well, how are you going to pay for it? And so she told me that she got a letter from the university that told her how much it was going to cost, and then listed a bunch of options for how she could cover that. And she said, I just checked all the boxes. And that was when I realized how this is a big problem, because I am positive that maybe some of those were grants and some of those were scholarship, but the vast majority of those boxes were student loans. And she was going to finish off her 4 years of college with a tremendous amount of student loans. And I got kind of worried. And then just last week, I was talking to another grad who was also graduated college and has a good job. And she's really kind of bitter because she went to a pretty prestigious liberal arts college that cost a lot of money. And now she's carrying about almost $100,000 of loans. And she's kind of bitter that nobody ever told her what that was going to be like, and now she's experiencing it. So I put together this presentation to give you a little bit of background on what loans are and how student loans operate, and hopefully it'll enable you to make some wise choices. So let's just talk a little bit about the basics of a loan. When you're borrowing money from somebody, what does that really mean? Well, in this example, I'm going to use borrowing $40,000, which is like borrowing $10,000 a year for 4 years. And there's three important factors that come out. One is, well, what is the interest rate that you're going to be paying? What is the term of the loan? That is, for how long are you going to be paying it? And those two things combined with the amount of the loan that you're taking gives you the monthly payment that you're going to have to make. So we're going to use an example here. We're going to use a $40,000 loan, 5% interest, $424 a month. So you're borrowing $40,000 for your college education. You're going to pay it off over 10 years. And that means your payment is going to be $424 per month. Well, 424 times 12 is like a $5,088 a year, which if you are lucky enough to graduate college and get a job and have it pay you $50,000 a year, well, that's 13% of your take-home pay. Now, most people, they can't save 13% of their take-home pay anyways. So that's a lot of money. It raises a lot of questions. Well, what kind of place can you afford to rent? Would it affect your ability to get married or have kids? Will it affect your ability to retire? And that's on a $40,000 loan. That's not on an $80,000 loan or a $100,000 loan. That's just on a $40,000 loan. So it's a pretty important calculation to know. You have to know kind of like what you're getting into when you start saying, yes, I'm going to take on some of these loans. So this is an online calculator. There's literally hundreds of these on the internet that you can use if you want to calculate how much your loan payment is going to be. So you're going to enter in the term of the loan, the number of years. You're going to enter in the interest rate. You're going to enter in PV, stands for present value. That is the amount of loan that you're taking, and then it'll automatically calculate for you the payment that you're going to have to make on that loan. So these are very handy, very easy to find, easy to use. This is a book that I'm going to highly recommend that you get to help you figure out the financial side of college. Called Paying for College. It's by Princeton Review. A lot of the things that I've talked about, a lot of things that I'm going to talk about come right out of this book. It's a tremendous resource. I read probably 4 or 5 of the different books on how to pay for college, and I think that this one is the best. So this is the 2019 edition. They come out with a new edition every year. You should buy it and get it. This is a report that you can get, and what this is doing is it's generating the financial numbers from a number of fairly well-known colleges. Got Northwestern, got Wesleyan. Is that Wesleyan? Yeah, Wesleyan, Georgetown, San Diego State. And the first column is how hard it is to get into the school. The next column is the price of the school. That's like kind of like the retail, the sticker price. Next column is very important. It's EFC, that is your expected financial contribution. So this is something that the government helps you calculate using the FAFSA form, FAFSA. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but that's the federal application for student aid form. And then it says how much do you need? So they take the price and they subtract the EFC and they decide how much you need. So they estimate how much aid you would get from the school. And then they tell you what the annual cost is. And you'll notice that the annual cost for all these colleges is really pretty close to the EFC. So the EFC, your expected financial contribution, that is a super important number and something that you're going to have to pay very close attention to, and something that Princeton review book that I just talked about is going to help you calculate so that you get the best number possible. So as I just mentioned, there are some important acronyms, some important terms you're going to have to know. And probably the one you're going to hear the most is the FAFSA, FAFSA. Free application for federal student aid. So something that you can complete online. Most people are going to complete it online these days. You can also do it in paper. There's something else called the CSS profile that some colleges use, which is very similar to the FAFSA. But what these are going to do, what the FAFSA is going to do, is it is going to help you calculate, well, it is going to calculate your expected financial contribution. So this is the amount of money that all the schools are going to start from in deciding how much that you should have to pay for college. So it's very important to fill in the FAFSA advantageously. I recommend that Princeton review book. It gives some great tips. We're not talking about lying here. We're not talking about falsifying information, but there's certain things that you will include and certain things that you shouldn't include, that you don't have to include, that can make a really big difference. The Princeton review book helps, and you might even consider getting some professional help to fill out that form. This form has to be completed even if you don't think you're going to get any need-based aid, because merit-based scholarships also require the FAFSA form. So you got to fill it out. You may as well do it the best way that you possibly can. Everyone has to fill it out. No merit aid, no need-based aid without it. So what happens if the calculation shows that your EFC, your expected financial contribution, is more than you can afford? So we were just talking about what to do if your EFC is more than you can afford. So I'm going to kind of use that to talk about what schools you should be applying to. Well, you should definitely be applying to your dream schools, the schools that you just really are dying to go to. And your counselor is going to tell you should also be applying to safety schools, schools that you're really pretty positive that you're going to get into. Dream schools, they can be kind of a reach. Safety schools, you're pretty sure that you're going to get in. But the other thing that our counselors talk about a lot are these things that we call hidden gems. And there's actually a book that talks about all these different kinds of schools. It's called the Fisk Guide to Colleges, I think it is. I might have a picture of it coming up. But the hidden gems, those are schools that are outstanding schools, but just really aren't on the radar. I mean, really, if you think about it, you know, you could probably name like 20, 25 schools because they got big football teams, or, you know, they're really famous, like, you know, the Ivies or something like that. But these hidden gems have great teachers, have great programs, and they really want you because they are off the radar. So a lot of the schools that will actually give you more money, those are the hidden gems. And you should make sure that you look at those very carefully. Don't get yourself all hung up on, you know, I got to go to NYU or I got to go to Michigan. You know, those might not be the places that are going to give you the best money. And you're going to get just as good, maybe even better education and experience at some of these hidden gems. One other thing about where the money comes from. So like I said, a lot of this extra money will come from schools that are hidden gems. A lot of students spend a lot of time applying for outside scholarships, and those are okay, but you have to do a cost benefit analysis to see whether it's really worth it, because you know, some of them are a few $100s, but they require like pages and pages of application, might not be the best use of your time. You know, if they're easy to do and you think you have an in on it, then definitely I would go for those scholarships. But I would spend more time researching the hidden gems who might really come up with a much more attractive financial offer. This is a picture of the cover of the FISC guide that I talked about that lists like hundreds of colleges and has a lot of those hidden gems. And you should definitely take a look at it. You could find one in the counselor's office. They'll help you with it and see if you can find some of those hidden gems to apply to. So I really want to emphasize that this is a sign I have up in my classroom. It is not what college you'll get into. It's what you're going to put into college. I mean, I know everybody wants to go to their dream school, but the fact is that it's what you're going to put into it that's going to make it a good experience or not. My first year in college, I went to UCLA and I lived at home, which was just fantastic. And now we have these hidden gems. We have outstanding state schools. We have community colleges. And the fact is that there is a glut of PhDs on the market. So there's a lot of people teaching in these, what you might call second level or third level, third tier, I wouldn't call them level, third tier schools that are outstanding teachers. And they're actually the same teachers that you would get at UCLA or USC, because the number of tenured faculty has really been reduced. And a lot of these professors, they have to kind of teach 2 or 3 gigs in order just to make a living. So you go into Santa Monica College, you might get the same teacher that somebody else has at UCLA. So it's something to consider, something to put into your decision-making process. Okay, so now you've applied to your schools and you're beginning to get your acceptances and your offers, sometimes called an award letter. And it'll look something like this. So in the very top here, they list all the different costs, you know, what's the fees, tuitions, what they expect the living will be. So this gives you the total cost of going to the college. Then the next section in this award letter are the scholarships and grants. Those are great. Those are the ones that you do not have to pay back. Those are free. But then below that are a bunch of different, well, there's a work study option. You might want to work while you're in school. And then there's a bunch of different kinds of loans. Don't just check the boxes. Make sure you understand what these different things are saying before you commit yourself to what could be a very substantial amount of debt. Then even at the bottom here, they're saying, well, we gave you, this is how much it costs total at the top. This is how much we gave you in scholarships. This is what you could earn working. And these are the loans. But you still are going to have to pay out of pocket a certain amount of money. If that's too much money, then you just really have to take that into consideration. So when you get one of these letters, it can be very confusing. Take it and go talk to your counselor. Take it, come talk to me. But talk to somebody to make sure you know what you're getting into and what the ramifications of that might be after you get out of school. I don't want you to end up bitter like that other grad that I talked about right in the beginning of the video. This is a picture of the college financial planning sheet from the US Department of Education. So this is something that the government has standardized to help you understand all these different types of loans and things that we've been talking about. I would highly recommend downloading this form and filling it out for every single college that you are interested in pursuing. It's got 2 sides. We'll look at the next slide in just a second here. Both of these forms copies are available on the PDF of all the slides that is accompanying this video. But if you fill them out, it's going to help you understand very clearly how much are you getting in grants and scholarships, and how much are they offering you in loans? Because that's just I can't emphasize enough the difference between those 2 things. Grants and scholarships don't have to pay back, free money. Loans, you're going to have to pay it back, and you're going to have to pay it back with interest. So one of the things you might decide to do is when you have all these different forms ready, is make yourself a giant Excel sheet so you can compare school by school by school, one right next to the other. not to freak you out or anything, but just so you know, there are a lot of different kinds of loans. Each of them has different terms, different payback provisions. So again, talk to the professionals, talk to your counselors, have them help you figure out what it is actually that you're getting yourself into. Negotiate. This is a very important point. So if they're going to make you an offer, you're going to get it. It's not the final offer necessarily. So I'll just give you a story from just a couple of years ago. I had a student who really wanted to go to a particular college, got accepted, but even after the awards and the loans, it was going to cost her too much money out of pocket. So she was kind of resigned to going to a different school, to a UC school, and she was okay with it. But I said, hey, like let's go back and talk to them. And I got this idea for negotiating from that Princeton review book. And so we put together a nice letter from her to the financial aid director, and I wrote a letter kind of explaining her situation and how I felt that she was a real valuable student to have. And they came back and gave her a full ride. So you've got nothing to lose. They're not going to withdraw their acceptance if you ask them for more money. If you explain, hey, I really just can't afford this, but I really want to go to your school. This is a really good thing to do. So do not hesitate to ask them to improve their offer to you. So another thing I want you to consider is I want you to think about Cal State schools. They're very affordable. A lot of the Cal State schools have honors colleges. You need to check that out. In fact, a lot of the schools have honors colleges. Some of the better ones, some of them not the better ones. They're all good colleges. Some of the colleges that are like very well known have honors colleges. A lot of the hidden gems have honors colleges. And what honors colleges will do for you is a lot of times they'll give you priority registration. So you get to make sure you get your classes and make sure you'll be able to finish in 4 years instead of 5 years. A lot of them will give you a mentor. It's a really fantastic, sometimes they'll give you a special residence to live in. It's a really great deal. You should look into it. Most often they require a separate application. So be on top of it and apply to the honors colleges. It's something that you should definitely have in your pouch and consider them for Cal States. Finally, I want to say a couple words about community college because, well, especially here, we're a college prep school, and it's not just here. It's in society at large. That community college are kind of poo-pooed a little bit. They're not really looked at as being. In fact, we used to call them junior colleges. They got rid of that name wisely because community college can be a really great thing. For one thing, as I mentioned before, a lot of the professors that you're going to get in a community college, they're the same professors that are teaching at USC or teaching at UCLA. Except one of the differences is that at community college, they're there to teach. That's what community college is all about. A lot of the larger universities, especially for underdivision classes, they're being taught by professors, and their main interest is research. So community college is a place where you can go and really get some valuable instruction, and you just can't beat the cost. I mean, right now in California, if I'm not mistaken, you can go to community college for 2 years for free. And so the student that I was talking about at the very beginning of the video, who was kind of bitter about this, $100,000 of loan that she was carrying, she said, like, well, why didn't somebody tell me about community college? I could have gone there for 2 years and then transferred to this other liberal arts college that I ended up graduating from. And I would have saved really a lot of money. So I'm not saying you should go to community college. You should definitely apply to four-year schools and see what kind of money that they'll give you. But if it is an issue of money, you should definitely take them into consideration. And when your classmates say that they're going to go to Santa Monica or they're going to go to Pasadena Community College or wherever, a fist bump, give them a high five. I mean, this is a good thing. They're going to college. And that's really what we're trying to get through. So don't write community college off. I guess one other thing I would say about going to community college is that they're almost always commuter schools. So you're not in the exact same kind of environment. That can be a little disappointing, and it does require a little bit of extra discipline. So in terms of keeping up with your studies, but I have a lot of former students that spent 1-2 years in community college, and now they're going to Berkeley, or they're going to SC, and really making a go of it. So I hope you get something out of this video. I hope it was helpful for you to be able to make some decisions, and maybe to ask the right questions of your counselors, or ask the right questions of me, and not get yourself into a bind that you're going to be unhappy with, so that you can really enjoy your college years and feel good about it for the rest of your life. Thanks a lot.